there, this is Dr. Barbara Young. Welcome to the Transformation Success Television Network, and this is the Total Woman Show. I am so happy you're here today because we've got part 2 with my spotlight guest today, Miss Jennifer Conkey. Oh my goodness, she was something else on the first show. So if any of you missed that show, you've got to see it. So we are talking about a journey of a woman on a mission with LeadHership. Lead, H-E-R, is capital H-E-R, ship. And with me today are my co-host, Dr. Carol Soloway. Dr. Carol Soloway is a great author of 2 books, Sex Happens and Gracie's Gone. She is a medical examiner and chiropractor by day and writer by night. And we have Miss Chen. Caitlin is a blogger. She is one of my regular co-hosts, and she has her own television show called Millennial Money Minute. How about that? Woohoo! Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So Jennifer, when we left off last week, I said you got to come back because we were just getting started, and we heard about your transformational journey and about leadership and some of the thoughts you had about leadership, and we all got into the discussion. It got a little, interesting. And so this week we wanted you to come back because you didn't get a chance to talk about your 7 specific influencing techniques that you use to unleash more success for women in leadership roles.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you come about even just coming up with these 7 influencing, techniques?
Sure. So during my journey, when we were talking on last week's episode, we were talking about how did we come into my leadership style. And in my 20s, you asked about the autocratic style, and I had that style.
Right.
So during that process, I had some feedback, and I started observing others. I looked at, how do I model excellence? I looked at the other folks that were doing that. And I started paying attention. How do they get commitment from people? And where do I need to shore up that gap? So I watched some people, and they would explain the rationale behind changes that we needed, or if I needed you to do something, they would explain it. They would inspire people, and based on their skill sets, and then they would involve them. So I noticed those were the 3 things. So those are the first 3 tactics that I learned on how to get commitment.
Inspire, involve, and what else?
The first one is rational or logical explanation.
Okay, I got to explain to you why I want you to do this, or I have to give some rational explanation as to why we're doing what we're doing.
Yes.
Absolutely. I want to get you on board.
Absolutely.
So I need to that's the first thing a leader has to have, a vision. And you have to be able to articulate that vision.
That's true.
Okay, all right, I got it. Okay.
So out of the 7, that's the first 3, and it gets you commitment, right? So once you try, so 9 times out of 10, you'll come in and you'll say, hey, Caitlin, I need you to take this pen and run it over down to the store because of X, Y, and Z, whatever the facts are, whatever the data is. But why? Why me? Why not Dr. Barbara? Well, because you are the fastest runner, and I know you'll get there fast. And so you kind of tie them into their skill set on why you need them to do it.
That makes me feel good because I'm a faster runner.
Exactly. You're building their self-esteem, building their confidence, and then you ask them, how do you think we could do it best? And so that's the involvement piece, right? So there's some folks that, wow, that feels very flattering, but man, I'm really taxed, and I have too much on my plate. I don't have anything else to do. I'm already a chiropractor by day and an author at night. I don't have time to run pens to the store.
I don't.
Right? So then that's where the secondary tactics come into play, and that's like you're taking the rapport that you have established, and you're going after emotion and exchange. So then I could say something along the lines of, okay, well, if you could run that pen down for me because you're so busy. I'm a little busy, but I can take on one of your tasks, and that's exchange, right?
Oh, negotiating.
Nice. So if you can do something for me, maybe I'll do something back for you, and appropriate, right? Within appropriate, request.
Right.
And then on the emotion side of it, it's, you ever be asked for a change and you don't feel very good about it. Oh my God, I don't really want to make that change. So there's a lot of emotion behind people being asked to make a change or to do a task. And so that emotion usually is fear. And it's usually the fear of the unknown. They don't know what to expect. And they want to make sure, well, what's my role? I'm already the subject matter expert over here. And I really want to make sure that I can be the subject matter expert as long as I can. And so trying to tie in the ways that they can shore that gap and cross that bridge. Right. And then the last 2. So that's the secondary. It's emotion and exchange. And then you look at the last one is, if you can't get it done there, if you can't get commitment, you got to get compliance, because as a leader, you can't just come up short and not get results. So there's pace setting and enforcement. Pace setting is really related to project management. So we have all these things that we're doing, and we're on a timeline, and we're going to meet every week and talk about it,
Right,
and then
right.
enforcing the rules.
Right.
So those are the core 7. Yeah.
Wow. You went through that really fast.
I did. I know.
I mean,
but I
really,
could
the core 7. I mean, I'm just still on reverberating on the first 2.
Sorry about that.
No,
I can explain it in more detail.
okay. Questions, ladies?
Well, what would you say if I asked you what the number one thing is between an employer and an employee?
They have to believe in you, right?
Okay,
that's what I want. In order for that to happen, you got to believe in yourself, right? If you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to come across as congruent and authentic, and people aren't going to follow you. So they have to believe in you, and it's your responsibility as a leader to establish that relationship and make them believe in you. So,
Right.
So that's my number one goal as an employer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Get them to believe in the cause, get them to believe in the end result, the mission, and the why behind it. That's the rational explanation on why we need to do it. And then what's in it for them?
Oh, that's
It's always the carrot.
what's in that's
in
no,
everything.
I don't know if it's a carrot is the number one. Would
It
you
is
say
number
that's
one.
a number
with,
one?
and
Yeah.
with anything,
Right.
just about with sales
What's in
or
it
with
for them?
anything, look at it from that perspective, and it's even
good.
what we're doing now. Because the whole thing for people to watch the show is what's in it for me.
Sure.
What am I going to get out of it? So we're providing information that they can use and hopefully transform their lives in terms of leadership. It is so fascinating to me about the whole notion of leadership, and it's been studied, it's been written about. I mean, it goes ad nauseum. But what do you see changing in the future as it relates to leadership? Because we're dealing with a different cohort of folks in terms of the millennials. We have 11 million that'll be on the scene by 2025.
Yeah.
They're a whole different breed of cat. And
Different mindset.
some of these long traditional held beliefs about and leadership styles not going to work.
No, it's not. You think about the millennials and what they want. They want a purpose.
Absolutely.
They want to know what's my role in it, what's the purpose, how do I drive it, what's my involvement,
And how do
so
I
have
grow?
to connect them. And they want to get something out of it in terms of growth, development, and what's my destination going to be.
It also has to meet their value system.
Yeah.
One of the things I think too is when we start to look at what do people value, what are your values? And so when I'm looking for people to really join and work with me, I have to find out if their values tie in with my values.
Yeah.
Okay, otherwise it's going to be a disconnect.
Yes.
Because
Right.
we're valuing the wrong thing.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how you interplay that with what you do with leaders and training them
Yes.
about values. Because you know what? When you start to ask people, and I know you guys have done this, what do you value? What are your 5 top values? But more importantly, I have an exercise where I actually tie people into do a pie chart and tell me what is the percentage of time that you spend on those values. Because people say, I value spirituality. Okay, I value health. Okay, we draw a circle. How much time? Tell me the percentage of time. It's 100%. How much time do you spend? And people are forced to actually look at, because what you value is where you spend your time.
It absolutely is true. That's exactly true. So I have what I call the breakthrough session. So when I'm coaching somebody, I take them through a breakthrough session. They come on with me. I get a detailed personal history, and we go through everything that's shaped them into who they are. Whatever area of life they want to work on, whether it's career, personal development, if they want to do relationships, family, spirituality, those types of things, I do a breakthrough session with them to where they hit that glass ceiling and you hit a plateau. There's an area of your life where you have a relationship and you just kind of go through this roller coaster. It's an up and down situation. They come in and I ask them specifically during that breakthrough session, what's important to you about whatever area of life it is. Let's say it's health and fitness. And they say, okay, and they start doing a data dump on all the things that are important to them. Results. I want to feel good. I want to be healthy. I come up with those things for them. And then we go through and I tie what they believe in. And because they're spending their time on those values, is there a disconnect? So you tell me that you value being healthy, but you really enjoy eating a lot of Twinkies, right? So we go through that process and identify how do we find out you can get more congruent with your behavior
Absolutely.
in terms of those values.
Right.
And then taking those beliefs out and helping them repurpose their values and shift on the right thing.
I have a question. Your company is LeadHership. I want to know what the difference one difference between her and him.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think the biggest difference that comes back as I'm interacting with folks is a lot of women tend to struggle with the feelings part, and they get a little emotionally caught up and take things a little personal. And I've noticed that when you're in the workspace, it's okay to show emotion, but if you're taking it personal and you're not taking that feedback and putting it into action and growing, then that could be a showstopper in terms of growth and getting to the end zone.
You mean it's okay for me to cry and go on and scream
No, I
and
don't
yell?
know that you mean
It's okay to show emotion.
I mean behind closed doors.
Behind
It's okay
closed
to
doors.
get upset and get emotional, but you can't let it stop you. You can't let it stop you deliver results. So there are a lot of women that will get upset. Well, he doesn't like me. He keeps telling me that I'm not doing this right.
But we take it more personally than
Yes,
men. So
yes.
that's what you're saying is the biggest difference.
And it's not every man or
I-
every woman, right? It's just the way their
In
brains
general.
are wired, right? But it's okay. I tell a lot of the folks that I've coached or mentored in the past that if you are feeling an emotional charge about something, some feedback that you've received, it's okay to go in the office behind closed doors or find a friend that's a confidant, a fellow female that will understand, and then also tell you, get back out there, right?
But are you talking about somebody giving you criticism?
Constructive criticism.
Okay.
Or
But
challenge.
you're going to be upset about constructive criticism?
No, I'm not.
No, but here's the thing that I feel that's lacking that too with a lot of female leadership is there has to be that ego strength so strong that you're not taking everything personal.
Yes.
Even if
Right,
it's somebody
right.
criticizing you because of what you didn't do.
Right.
You need to say, okay, I accept that and I will correct that, rather than the tears and the emotion,
Yes.
because that lets me know that the ego strength is not where you need to be. Save your emotion for some other things like the death of an employee or someone as a child that needs, an operation. That's why maybe I'm being wrong about it.
No, I agree with you. In
But,
fact, I always talk about the adversity quotient. So men have a stronger adversity quotient. So we have our intelligence
there's
quotient,
difference.
emotional quotient. Men have a stronger adversity quotient. They're out there, and the failure is not an option. They just, if they fail, they get back up and they keep going. And sometimes there's a tendency, in some cases, with the women that I've interacted with or the clients that I've had, where it's the end of the world when they experience a challenge, a setback, or if they've gone and pitched an idea or given a presentation and the men in the room say something to them about what they could have done better, all of a sudden they're broken and it's the end of the world. And no, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's so funny to make a tennis analogy. I see men when they hit a bad shot, they look at the racket like it's the racket's fault. And as women, we go, I did that, I hit that. So that's,
that's a good analogy.
What did this racket do?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Of how we look
I
at
never
things.
thought of that, but you are right. Men have a tendency to maybe go with the flow. Am I saying it wrong?
They go with the flow and they'll look
or
at the tool.
look at the tennis racket did it. I didn't do it.
Right, the tool. That's the tool.
They'll look at the tool and they'll analyze,
right.
what do I need to do differently? What was the tool?
And also, Jennifer, I was wondering, how soon should a leader give feedback? Because some leaders, they think, well, this time they made a mistake, maybe it'll get better.
Sure.
Does it get better?
Sure. No, you can't ignore it. So I have what I call the real-time performance evaluation. So as you see it happening, address it. And if you see that there's a trend of that happening, then there's one of those conversations where we might meet. I come to your office and I've really noticed that when this happened, this is what we talked about. And if you address it real time, then when it comes to the trend that's happened, you can speak to all the times that you've had a conversation with them about that particular issue. So I think you have to address things real time. And then if there's a trend of the same behavior, that's when it's time to sit down and have more of a performance trend conversation on what it has been like and what you would like to see differently. So I say you describe what the situation was in the trend, explain what you'd like to see different. Right?
I think, when we talk about this, the best thing about leadership that I ever learned is just imagine yourself on the other side of the table.
Oh, that's good.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
put
some of
yourself
this
in
isn't-
other people's
some
shoes,
of this,
right?
Jennifer, I hate to say, it's just not rocket science.
Yeah, agreed.
But
It's like treat people like you want to be treated. If I make a mistake, I would love for you to come and, tell me right away. that, and we can rectify this. Don't wait 3 months later.
Right.
And then tell
Agreed.
me. You know, this is really interesting. The first job that I took as in a leadership position, they did not tell me any parameters, like what time you're to come to work, if you get breaks or anything, because I'm going from one role to this really high level position. So, but one thing came to me. I went to the person who was my immediate supervisor, and I sat there with her and I told her, I really appreciate having this job. This is a great opportunity for me. But if ever I do something wrong and you tell somebody else and not me, that's the day I quit.
I call that third party feedback.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way. There are times, because you may be of a different ethnic group or diversity group, and you're dealing with somebody in the majority group. Okay, sometimes, and back in the day, it was like maybe a little touchy to maybe tell you the truth because you happen not to be of the same culture.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Making myself clear?
Absolutely.
So I wanted to, so I think sometimes we talk about you need to speak up for yourself. If you are in a minority group and you're working with somebody in a majority group, you need to set the parameters. And what I call myself doing in that case, not unfriendly, but just setting the parameters, because I did not want, if I'm doing something wrong and then she goes or he goes and tells somebody else rather than me. That's one of the things I think of leadership, is being able to confront in a positive way. Confrontation does not have to be negative.
Agreed.
So I don't know how you deal with this if you tell your
Agreed.
clients this, because you can tell I get a little emotional about that.
Absolutely.
Because that happens with a lot of minority groups that are in positions, and there's a big article that just came about that. That was written about that. And so we start looking at the number of white women in leadership roles, the number of African American women who are not in leadership roles, who are working with a dominant group, and how the displacement, some of this is coming out now. So maybe I'm being bold enough to say it on,
No, I love talking
on
about
this program.
I love bold topics.
Yeah.
I think that in my clients, so in that base, I do have a really diverse pool of clients that I coach, right? And in my 25 years experience in corporate America, I even experience a lot of diverse situations there. Diversity in thought, diversity in background, diversity in culture, a lot of diversity. And the common theme is that when they approach somebody, they just don't have the right message. They don't. I always try to say, what do you want them to think, feel, say, and do as a result of the conversation? Map that out in your mind, and then sit down. And I role play with them. I feel like if you
I think that's
role play
great.
is critical.
That is so critical.
Yeah. Make your mistakes on me. And critique. I'm going to critique you. And then I'll let you know how that felt, and then you can go out and try it with a different twist.
It's really the art of communication.
Yes.
Because the employee needs to see that the manager acknowledges, and the feedback is really important for them. Really.
It really is.
One other thing I was going to point out that I learned, and I'm just sharing this, was to have my own personal board of directors who were at my level. And I developed and brought women into my circle who were at higher levels than me, because I could get that sort of feedback, the critical analysis that I needed, and to have those mentors. So I'm not sure, and it's something that I felt very positive about. I learned that way back in the day from someone that said, because you cannot have the same kind of relationship with the people that you supervise. And sometimes people want to go out with it's nice to, have some socialization with, but you cannot have, I found that out. I was having lunch with the people that worked for me, and that wasn't going to work that didn't work very well. So I had to find women at a level higher than me, and they became what I call my power brokers.
I like that term. That's a really good term. And I agree with you. If you have a relationship with the folks that report to you, it makes it gets really gray, and sometimes then they have an expectation because there's a relationship established that things might be let go or looked over. So I think that it's important to have a professional yet personal relationship with them and know when their birthday is, know their kids, know their names, and really spend time. Hey, what'd you do this weekend?
That's true.
But it doesn't have to be that you were hanging out with them over the weekend.
There is a woman who is the head of one of the largest corporations, and I'm not going to call the name on TV, but she is from India. And so absolutely, she's the CEO of this corporation, and what she does is she sends letters to the mother. She found out that she sent a letter to the mother of one of her employees, one of her senior executives, saying what a great worker he was, what a great person she was. So she does things like that.
That's
that
above
to
and
me
beyond.
was over the top.
It
but
is.
think of what it did to that employee.
Wow.
Because she found out the relationship between he and his mother. So it requires you to be more sensitive in the times that we're living in now.
Agreed. And I would like to challenge, a lot of people say, treat people the way you want to be treated. My motto that I always tell everybody is treat people the way they want to be treated. It requires
Good
you to
point.
find
Yeah. Good
out
point.
how they want to be
Yeah.
treated.
Good point.
And that was my major lesson in my transformation on leadership styles.
Yeah.
I used to treat people the way I wanted to be treated. Well, I just wanted to know. And I wanted to get it done.
I can see you now, Jennifer.
Right? But it wasn't effective.
I can see the old Jennifer.
It wasn't effective for everybody.
So I had to learn very quickly, treat people how
Yeah.
they want to be treated. And it forces you to go find out. And it's
Yeah, it
a
does.
big
It does.
difference maker.
It does.
It really is.
Well, you are really making a difference with your coaching and with helping women in leadership and men, because you're not just dealing with. There are men too that need to show up their skills. A lot of them need to show up their skills, but I'm not sure they always feel like they need it.
Some are more receptive than you would think.
Yeah.
They are.
Well, I had the opportunity to travel abroad, out of the country, and work with world leaders. And I worked with a number of members of parliament in Kenya, and really came to understand that they need help as well. But it's a way that you can approach them that we can bring men into the fold. And then I started leadership seminars with men coming to the seminars. So do reach out to some of these guys. Though it's LeadHership, because your point was really good. LeadHership.
Right? Lead
You
his
could have a
ship.
subsidiary.
We could.
Yeah,
We are not
Leadership.
anti-men at all.
Oh, I
We
know
have
that.
so
I
many
know.
male
I know that, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
know that.
saying
we
another
can spin it off.
arm.
That would be great. That would be really good. So they feel empowered too. I want to manage the
Absolutely.
inclusion.
So where do you see yourself going?
So right now we do our coaching business. We also have business services where we work with business owners and help them transform and scale their business. So if they need more revenue, we come in, we do a consultation, and we provide a strategy, build out an implementation plan. That's fun. What we want to take it in 2020 is we're going to come up with mastery retreats. So Caitlin, you could come. It's a 3-day weekend. I'm going to get an Airbnb by the beach. Bring your
Nice.
business challenge. We'll work on it 6 hours a day. And then when we're not working on the challenge, we'll work on a personal breakthrough so we can get rid of those self-limiting beliefs and you can make a difference in your business. Because sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's you.
But you know what? I have a piercing question here too, and I think this is so great. But do you think people are still rallying to go to these events where they have to show up in person? Because there's so many of them, and now with the webinars and all the stuff online, do you feel there's a lot of competition?
there was a lot of competition.
Trying to get you to go to an event. I get invited to all these events. I don't have time to go and spend 2 and 3 days.
Oh, no. So for my event, it is not necessarily there's a massive amount of people. There's going to be four business owners that come.
Okay.
I have
So
a
it's
panel of
specialized-
experts.
it's more specialized?
It's a very specialized, and you will leave with your business challenge solved. So
Okay.
it's worth
So
it.
you're actually giving, for you out there that might be viewing this show, if you have a business challenge that you need to overcome, this is the person. You're going to have it in
2020. That's
2020.
Yep, that's our
Okay.
plan. We're planning the entire strategy so that we can kick it off, and when that implementation will take place.
So
is
how can people
first
get in
quarter.
touch with you?
If you do leadhershipapp.com, it literally takes you straight to our app, and you can follow us, you can contact us, and you can book some appointments to get on the phone with us and just chat about whatever it is that you want to
Okay.
accomplish. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I like the fact that there's a lot of one-on-one time.
Yes. That's why I didn't want to do one of these big mastermind things.
Okay,
because
great. I was
my
glad
style
you
is
clarified
more
that.
one-on-one.
Yeah.
I want to solve it and really help you get a lasting result. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the masterminds. I've been a product of a few of them, right? And I have seen success by going to them.
Right.
But I just want to do something different. I want to do something where I get a few business owners together, solve a challenge. I have my panel of experts, and you leave with your challenge solved or a plan to go solve
I
it.
like that approach.
That's different.
Yeah, I mean,
thought
because it's
so.
a different approach, the one-on-one. Thank you for clarifying.
Sure. No, I appreciate the question. To clarify.
Because going to these 3-day events, and a lot of people,
And they want to get
it's
them as many people into the room as
Yeah, no, not me.
possible.
Yeah, no.
right.
I prefer the one-on-one.
Yeah, great. I'm glad we had you on the show, Jennifer, to really just delve, because I met you some time ago. I was really intrigued about what you were doing with leadership. It struck out. I went, LeadHership. Okay. And finding out more about you and how you got started in this. It's really a pleasure.
Thank you.
Leadership. Well, you got the right ladies, and let me tell you, if you need your business challenges solved, Jennifer Conkey is the girl to see. Not girl, the woman. Pardon that. Okay? The woman. But I don't know, you can call me a girl if you want to. I don't care. But anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in to the Total Woman Show again this week. I want to give a shout out to all you wonderful people who watch this show every week. We've got new shows coming, and they're going to be great. We're going to be tackling a lot of topics that are controversial, but they're going to be illuminating. And this show is to be educational, as well informative, as well as entertaining. So I want to thank my co-host today for being on the show.
You.
Caitlin, it's always a pleasure to see you now.
Nice to
Go
see you.
and watch her show, Millennial Money Minute. She's got more shows coming. Her shows right now, the number most watched on VoiceAmericaTV.com. So you can reach us at VoiceAmericaTV.com. My network is Transformation Success TV Network. And I want to give a shout out to my film producers. None other than Mr. Hammond Bolden, Mr. Tim Carney, and his son, Hugh. He thought I forgot, but I didn't forget. So this is Dr. Barbara Young signing off again. Thank you for coming on the show again. Thank you. Love you guys. Love you. Goodbye, everybody, and have a blessed week. We'll see you next week where we got another show coming, believe it or not. Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye. Great.